Good morning. How's everybody doing here on the East Coast in the US? It's a little bit before 4 a.m. and couldn't sleep. So I thought I'd pop down here and see if anybody was on. Good morning. How's everybody doing here on the East Coast in the US? Yeah, it's just not a great day for me personally. I have some sleep issues, which a lot of you may know about, but doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to possibly pop in here and say hello. Quentin, how are you? You're in Minnesota. Okay. It's just, it's not the nicest of days today, but it is what it is. It's a little cooled off this evening. The weather has been not bad here lately. The last few days it was very hot a couple of days, and then yesterday it was fairly nice. So Quentin, what brings you in at let's see, it would be almost 3 o'clock in the morning there in Minnesota, I'm guessing. Yeah, the Paul Arctigurtha is quite a vessel. I try to get as often as I can. I try to get as good a picture as I can get when the Tagurtha. I missed it yesterday on its downbound. But the thing of it is what's nice about where I am. The Tagurtha passes through periodically on a regular schedule. Sam Hayden, how are you doing? Are you home or at work, Sam? I'm just firing up the other computer. Maybe change my virtual background a little bit. This one seems to be cutting in and out. It doesn't do well, I guess, in the dark. I can turn on some of my lights, I guess. That might help. Does that help with the virtual? I guess a little bit. Oh, it's rainy there. Okay. We're going to expect it here in Port Huron, Michigan to be fairly decent day with rain coming in later in the day today and overnight. Then we'll have rain on Tuesday and Monday, Tuesday, I guess they're calling for. So that means I got to get out and mow the lawn, get that done at some point in time. Sam, what are you still working 12 or 14-hour days? How many hours a day are you working, Sam? So you must be working the night shift. So I take it, did you go in like at midnight or 11 o'clock your time or earlier? Well, Sam, the sad part of it is I think we're all in that same boat as far as focus, as far as keeping our mind straightened out. John Spizo. Okay. Yeah, I understand, John. It's never easy to recover from any kind of a medical situation when you've been treated because, what does it say? Every day down, it's 7 days to
We are
get
being
recovered.
censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. I'm
Let
Joshua
me.
Phillip, senior investigative reporter with the Epoch Times, and we stand for truth and tradition. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by six
I have got to
corporations.
shut
They're not
this
out to
down
tell you the truth of
as
what's
far
happening.
as.
They're out to tell you the picture of the world they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. This isn't just a mission of the paper, it's a mission of
Let me
those involved.
see.
It's something we truly believe in. The Epoch.
Okay, that I had a pop up on my other computer over there with a little bit of sound. Sorry about that. Tim Jackson, how you doing, Tim? Yeah, sorry to hear about John and Sam. I understand exactly what you're talking about. John Spizo um, is going through some medical issues, as most people have in and out of their life. Um, Tim, I'm doing as well as can be expected for an older guy that's in the sunset years. Um, Nothing major other than just the normal degradation of one's body. But I know there's a lot of people out there having it worse off than I do. For everybody that doesn't know, Sam Hayden's a great guy. Lives out in Arizona, and he's a central dispatch supervisor, and he's working a late shift tonight. Um, like most of us, he's kind of alone. He does have a lady friend, but she lives way across country, and with all of this COVID thing going on, everybody's getting a little antsy. I detect some people just not quite, I don't know how to put it, just not quite. Just it's kind of like that toothache that kind of comes and goes, and you can't quite put your finger on what it is and what it's doing to you, but it is doing to us all. I'm going to change. I'm going to get rid of this virtual background. I don't have a green screen. I just never thought I wanted one. Let's go to none and let's go to here. And that's the river cam view there on the St. Clair River at night. Um, Antsy, yeah, that's a good word for it too. Oh yeah, Sam is a wizard when it comes to helping anybody. If you got a question, I don't know how much Sam can do while he's at work or talk, but Sam is excellent at maybe giving some advice on computer issues. Well, Tim, that's I do understand that. Mm, uh, uh. Um, I know you can't, Sam, but I sent you invitation too. Just I didn't want you to feel left out. Oh, I understand, Sam. Just don't want you feeling left out, my friend. Oh, Tim, that's too bad. Yeah, John, the Great Lakes are amazing. There's so much to see and love about everything on the Great Lakes. And I just happen to be blessed to be living so close to everything here along the water. It just really is spectacular for sure. Yeah, that cam goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Really is spectacular. It's stream time live. Every once in a while, they zoom in on something or keep an eye on things. Yeah, it is nice. We get the full 4 seasons here. Um, the water is crystal clear blue, and there isn't anything that you can say bad about it. I got a ship today and one yesterday and about 3 or 4 the day before, and um, I went out and actually did a commercial flight today. Um, me see if I can pull you up, Quentin, some of the shots that I have of the Paul R. Tregurtha. I've got lots of video on the Tregurtha for sure. Let's go here. Okay, so if I change over here, input, let's go to number 3. And I have to re-plug it back in again. Okay, there's some, this is one file that I have. Of the Paul R. Tregurtha, when it comes up. This is back in April, the 24th of April, upbound on the St. Clair River. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah, it's 62 inch, I think. 60 some inch TV anyway. There it is coming up underneath the bridge. I would say by the way the light is hitting it, that is sometime in the afternoon, because you can see the shadows coming off of the twin bridges onto the side of it. So the sunlight's hitting it from the west. There it is heading out into the lake. A little bit overcast that day. There it is out in the lake as it's going into Lake Huron. heading out. And there it is. And that's a little bit of the shoreline at Lake Huron up there. Yeah, right up here. John Spizzo, you take care. Get some rest, get some sleep if you can, John. I'm not going to be on too long today. I just popped on to see if there's anybody else out there that uh, Tim, I understand. I truly do understand. Sometimes we can and sometimes we cannot. Oh, we got a ship coming down in the dark. Let's cut back over there. Input 2. You can see it moving behind. It'll come into view a little bit. We don't have a lot of lights down there. There's lights on the bridge and there's lights along the parkway. But let me see if I can figure out who it is. Marine traffic. Okay, it is the Algoma Harvester heading for Port Cartier, and it is currently doing about 8.7 knots. Sorry about the reflection, but I think what I can do to stop the reflection may be this. I'm sorry that it's all pixelated, but of course it is nighttime and there are no lights out in that direction. Closer it gets to the bridge, it will start to get better. But it's coming out of Lake Huron, heading into the St. Clair River as it goes downbound, heading for Lake St. Clair, the Detroit River, Lake Erie, and then Erie, it goes through the canals again and heads for Lake Ontario. And yes, it does have to be locked up as the levels of the water change. Quentin. It's not. This isn't the St. Mary's River. This is Lake Saint. This is the St. Clair River at the end of Lake Huron, down at the bottom. St. Mary's River is way around over between lakes Ontario and Erie. Lake Erie is the furthest south of the lakes. Well, that's not entirely true because you do have Lake Michigan, which curves around by Chicago in Indiana. Yeah, it's 4:18 a.m., Tim. No, I didn't take my meds last night, but hey, it is what it is. And yeah, I got up early and went and did my commercial shoot, and I didn't take them this morning either, so I'll catch up this morning. I usually try and take them about 8 or 9, 10 o'clock. Let me see if I can. This will help with my lighting. There. As you can see, the lights from the bridge do light the ship up as it is moving downbound. The current itself there in that river, because of all the volume of water coming down out of Lake Huron, by itself is running anywhere from 7 to 8, maybe 9 knots. And so the ships really, to maintain their speed, all they're doing is running their engines to maintain a little bit of forward momentum and to maintain control. The river goes down and makes a sharp, not a sharp, but a curve towards the east. And then it goes down, gets by the Black River in Port Huron, then it curves back again as it's going downbound. And it has this little windies, not really a lot. Right there, the distance across the river, maybe a quarter mile. That's Canada over there. Canada, as you can see back here, you can see all of the oil. They have a lot of oil refineries. And because that's looking across the US, and the lighted up oil refineries, that's across the river on the other side, because it's going to come down here, go like this, and then cut back behind here in front of those oil refineries as it goes down the river. The river does widen out at some places. It's like a mile wide. Yeah, I don't have the TV straight on, because usually if I do that, I'll show you. If I let the TV be straight on, you can see my monitors and stuff. So I have to tilt it to keep the reflection down. Best I can. So the camera operators operate those cameras 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's on a channel called Stream Time Live. And they have a whole bunch of cameras along the water and other places around the country. Edge FPV, how you doing? Yeah, I see it. I see it at an angle when I'm looking at my background, but it's not angled normally. It's get dark in here, so I don't have a light, much light in here other than that one light plus my computers. But I give you guys a little quick shot of what my camera sees from behind me. This is the back of that television, and there's three monitors there, three different computers. And so we're on this one. This one is just a blank screen where I brought up the other stuff, and this is a computer that's showing you the river cam up on here. And so what I can do is it's get nothing but dark there now. I can turn around and escape that. And there's the Paul Tregurtha. And I have that picture up. And I think I can bring my lights up. So that's the playing around. I mean, it's just, you could play around all day. Now I really do understand why they have engineers that play with all that stuff to get it to look right. Yeah. I sent out a whole bunch of invitations to some people, and yeah, I Spike. Thank you. I just have more time on my hands than I know what to do with, other than I mean, everybody keeps busy, 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 and it's interesting how I like to go over, and I spend a lot of time on Canadian Drone Hub with Roger, and once in a while over on Val's Life and a couple of other channels, but for the most part, um, between that and flying, as an old retired guy that you know doesn't get around as fast as what I once did, um, it really is challenging sometime to get in your normal things that you have to do, such as taking care of the lawn, taking care of other things around the house, and just doing whatever shopping you have to do. So it does get challenging. Okay, Sam, thanks for popping in this morning. I hope things settle down out there and it doesn't get too hectic, but it is what it is, my friend, as you well know. So, I Spike, how are you doing over there across the pond? Yeah, The Oberstar is another great one. That, there's a whole bunch of them. What I find is Interlake Steamship Company, which is this is their flagship one. The Interstate Interlake Steamship Company does a great job, and they have been known to use some of my footage in their promotionals, and they've sent me coats and hats and different things. Um, they wanted to hire me to go around the Great Lakes and film their ships at one point in time, but I can't do that. Not because I wouldn't want to. It just physically would be just too much. Yeah, Spike, you can get very deep into trying to figure out life in general. What's it all about? Why are we here? What are we doing here? What are we supposed to be doing here? And what are we not supposed to be doing while we're here? Uh, we're all here just temporarily. That's for sure. Um, as most of you, I'm sure you've heard of Ice Spike before. He does a great little show, and he's on quite often. Let me see if I've got. I know I do. Let's go check out. See if I have any over here of the Overstar. I got the Edwin Gott. My main computer here is the one where I have most of the ship videos on. Paul Tregurtha, Paul Tregurtha. This is an interesting, just one picture of an interesting ship that used to periodically come here in the summertime over the last few years, but I'm not so sure that it is going to return this year, simply because of the COVID debacle. Are you loading? Maybe it didn't like that. Of course, there's the Masabi Minor, another one of the Interlake steamship companies, big ones. Yeah, I Spike. I found that was easier for me because then I can just hook a computer up to it and show behind me, different things, change the background, such as, and what I've dedicated is the far computer on the right. I've dedicated that to just pretty much put up whatever I needed to. such as that little guy right there. So, you know, I can, if I do my normal Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern time show, um, I can put up, let's say this one. And use it as a background. So it works fairly well. Or I can put live stuff on there too. In other words, like video. I don't do it, but I could. But mostly I just use it. I put that kind of a background on it. Yes, Quentin, it did. The Edmund Fitzgerald. You know, the interesting thing is that it was just happenstance that it happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. We'll never know why some of the main hatches came, whether they weren't snugged down properly, and what we're talking about is hatch covers like these. That's during that really bad storm. The water gate went in, and she finally sank and foundered. The pumps couldn't keep up with it, and obviously you can't secure those hatches once you're underway in a storm. Yeah, the Arthur Anderson is still on the lakes today, and the Arthur Anderson was ahead of the Edmund Fitzgerald by, oh, I think like 5 or 6 miles, 7 miles, and was talking to the skipper when all hell broke loose. And in fact, they risked their own lives. They turned their ship around out in the middle of that storm and headed back. And by the time they got back there, ship and all the crew were gone. And I get video of the crew of the Anderson periodically as well. Let me see. I may have just gotten one recently. Yeah, here's the Anderson. Let me switch this again. Let's go back down here. This was dated May the 23rd. And I'll take you through the photos downbound. A little foggy out here in the lake. Just past the bridge headed south. from the other side. That's the American shore. The other one that I showed you were southbound. This is Canada over here, and that's a casino they have on the water over there. It's southbound. This is all condominiums. And this is all a walkway along here where you can actually park your cars and watch. In fact, that white right there, Tahoe, is me. That's where I'm flying from. And there it is, headed down a little bit ways. And that's me right back here. Um, there it is, the Blue Water Bridge behind it, and the casino over here. And it is not that nice a day, but as you can see, as far as light, and these are all raw photos. I haven't, those are not retouched or anything. And that's the Coast Guard cutter Hollyhock that is stationed out of Port Huron. And this is the actual movie. I'll play a little bit of this, but what you got to remember is that it's glitchy because it's transferring it not in the best of ways. So you may see a little bit of degradation of the video. There he goes. There goes the glitchy. And of course, the you can see it is glitchy, but when you get into the video, it's not as glitchy. There's a crewman on the back deck, probably on his cell phone, I would imagine. Oh, but yes. Well, Tim, thank you. Well, it really is an obsession. I go out and shoot ships, and it's a bad day for me when I shoot a ship video in the afternoon and it's not posted before, bedtime. So I push myself, especially if I get 3 or 4 ships in one day. I push myself throughout the day to get them done, and it causes havoc on my sleep process too. Yes, Tim, I'm flying the Mavic 2 Zoom. Well, I haven't had too much problem with it. Yeah, I used to have trouble with my Inspires a little bit as far as um, interference, but this AccuSync 2 is just fantastic. That's one of the reasons, because as you can tell by where I fly, there's a lot of interference that happens between the radars, the metal ships, the bridge, and all those kinds of things. But I don't have any problems with AccuSync 2. I used to have problems with Lightbridge, especially if I get away a little ways because I follow them down the river. Never had a situation where it wasn't control issue, it was video issue. And you, as you know, when you fly, if you're making video, you have to rely on the video feed in order to get that just proper crop and pan and tilt and be able to see it. And it was cutting in and out. So the AccuSync really makes a difference. That's when I sold all my bigger birds and went with the Mavic 2 Zoom. And now I have the Mavic 2 Air, which has AccuSync. I have a mini that I just don't fly. I'm thinking about passing that along, but and there's nothing wrong with the mini. A lot of guys are flying it. It's just my go-to bird when I go and grab a bird to go fly now, for the most part, is still the Mavic Air, Mavic 2 Zoom. Let's see. There's the Callaway. That was shot on May the 11th. As you can see, kind of a cloudy day. Um, and the Philip R. Clark. I think I just did that recently. Okay, here's the Philip R. Clark. And this was shot on the 21st of May. Upbound. It's just heading out into the lake there. There it is, going between buoys 1 and 2 as it's heading into the lake. There's on the left-hand side, over in this area here, there's buoys that go out all the way like at this angle, every mile apart, buoys 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, all the way out to 11 and 12. There's a shoal along here, a natural shoal. It's called the Corsica Shoal. And so it's really well marked for shipping lanes because they would ground out if they went over onto that shoal. Yeah, Tim, you're right. The mini is not good in the winds, and what I have found here is I do fantastic with the Mavic 2s, and I'm doing really well with I'm surprised how well the Mavic Air 2 handles the wind as well. But the mini, we have a lot of wind here, as you can imagine, with the water and the whole bit, the difference between the heat and the cold. I'll tell you what, I highly recommend anybody, if you're going to buy anything today, unless you're going to step up to a Mavic 2 or into a maybe a Phantom Advanced, whatever, and they're much bigger birds. But the Mavic 2 is the ultimate way to go. But if you wanted something quiet, stable, great camera, does what you want to do, and has fantastic distance, the Mavic Air 2 is just incredibly stable, incredible, um, reliable as far as both the control, uh, signals down the channel. I went out to, I shouldn't say this, but I went out to 18,000 feet the other day, and I had to turn around and come back because of battery. And it just cooks. The Zoom, you'll be very happy with the Zoom. Um, that's my go-to one. I fly it every day. I try because I fly with a crystal sky, because there's nothing worse if you're going to try and get good pictures, not be able to see what you're looking at when you're trying to frame that shot or get that angle. Because when I was flying my Inspires, I have like 3 or 4 iPad Airs, and so because I used to always keep one iPad with every bird, because I didn't want to be switching iPads. But the problem is with an iPad, I don't know if you've used iPads out in the sun, the reflection back, sometimes you feel like you're looking at yourself and you're not getting the full quality of what you're really recording or seeing. So I went out and bought the Crystal Sky Ultra, and I've never looked back twice, but it is pricey. Um, and I know a lot of guys are upset because DJI was promising, or hinted that they were promising, that they were going to make the Mavic Air 2 be able to work with um, either Crystal Sky or with um, the smart controller, and they haven't done it yet. In fact, when I had both of I had the Duo, the DJI Enterprise Duo, and the Enterprise, which was the one with the speakers and all that kind of stuff, the attachments. I bought a smart controller to work with those, and they didn't work at first. It took like 3 or 4 months before they finally upgraded and allowed it to work. By that time, I had returned my smart controller, and even though it's got a great screen, as an old guy, a screen like this versus a screen like this is really a no-brainer for me, because I like to see and have a big screen in front of me. And then I sold the Enterprises. John DiNardo got the Enterprise, and the Duo went to a young man down in Texas, I think it was. Yeah, if you're looking for some really good camera, then you're going to want a 1-inch sensor. However, I find my videos with that the smaller sensor that's on the Zoom doesn't bother me any. Now, when I was flying the Inspires, obviously the camera, you can change cameras up there. You can put the bigger cameras on with the bigger lens and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I even had the FLIR thermal imaging camera, very expensive, because I used to get called out to do some search and rescue work. And as soon as I bought the thermal imaging camera for the Inspire, I stopped getting calls because they all got their own equipment, and were using their own people to do what they wanted to do. I wasn't charging them. I was doing it as a volunteer service, but when they work for somebody and they need somebody to go out and fly, look for somebody or look at something or a fire, whatever, they have the regular police officers and firemen doing that. So I thought, this is crazy. I'm sitting with a $7,000 camera that I just bought like 5 or 6 months before that and not using. And so I sold it. And like everything else, you buy high and you sell it's low. So the camera was barely used, and I only got, I think, $4,000 for it. Um, and I was glad to sell it, pass it on to somebody. But you get that hit in your wallet too. Yeah, if they get too hot, the iPads will. They'll. Now my Crystal Sky has dual fans and battery powered on its own. It has heat sinks all around the outside, and the case will actually get warm, but you're not holding it with your hands. You got it mounted onto a system that goes between the handles. So, but it will get warm. And the other thing too is, Tim, is you're right, they'll shut off. But so well iPhones, any kind of device, unless it's capable of cooling itself in the hot sun, and when you're overtaxing it, will do the same. Hey, Dimitri, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just all of us people here in North America. We're just kind of cruising along for various reasons, not being able to sleep. And I know, like Ice Bike was on, and he's over in Australia, and he's in the middle of his day, I would imagine, over there. And and so is Tim. Tim is in Australia too, I believe. Yeah, I come on periodically. Um, Usually, I'm on with Canadian Drone Hub in the mornings, and on Friday evening and Saturday evening with Roger, Canadian Drone Hub, at 9 o'clock Eastern time. But um, I come on periodically Monday nights at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Uh, I have Paul live from Studio B with Paul Murray, um, and we have usually my co-person with me is Herman Green, Phantom Flight 101, and Lawrence Novice Quads is on, along with several other people, and people pop in and pop out. And it's at 5 o'clock Eastern on Monday nights. And it usually goes just a couple hours till 7 o'clock. Anyone know the Beatles rock and roll band? Yes. Well, thank you, Dimitri. Hey, Spike, thanks for popping in, and you take care, my friend, and I hope everyone is safe over there with this nasty thing that's going around the globe. So keep keep your head up, keep moving forward, Spike, and we'll see you again soon. Um, Gus, there's a long-standing agreement between the U.S. and Canada that they kind of turn a blind eye to the border when you're flying the FAA. I'm a licensed FAA commercial drone pilot, and what happens is you can wander over because the goes right down the center of the river. You can fly on each side. They just don't want you penetrating into each other's country. And definitely, you do not fly over any landmass if you're not a Canadian as an American. And definitely, you do not want to land in Canada. But as far as swooping around the ships and going on the Canadian side, the American side, there isn't been. It's kind of like if you were a non-commercial or a private pilot. I see the planes all the time up at about 1,000 feet, flying around to get a picture of the bridges and those kinds of things. So you can penetrate the airspace, but you can't. You only very, very minimal. Okay, Quentin, you have a good one too. No problems. In fact, I'm going to be shutting down here shortly as well. I just decided to come on for just a little bit to see who was here. Dimitri, I'm in Port Huron, Michigan, just a little bit north and along the water from Detroit, Michigan. And we're on the St. Lawrence Seaway, and I'm on the bottom end of Lake Huron. That's why all the ships go right past my house. In fact, the Blue Water bridges, they have to go under there, downbound or upbound, and it's only a quarter mile across. So I get some great spectacular looks at a lot of ships. So everyone take care. Have a good day. Stay out of trouble. If you would like, before you leave, hit the like button. If not, I understand. But I am going to be signing off for now and saying goodbye. And thanks for joining me. I'm going to try and get a little bit more sleep before the sun comes up here in another hour. And so, everyone, take care. God bless. Stay safe. And we'll see you again next time here on the next version of Live from Studio B with Paul Murray and friends. Take care. Curtis, what are you doing up? I was just about to hit the buy button. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing up this early either, my friend. But I came on simply because I couldn't sleep, and but I am just about to sign off, Curtis. So you take care, my friend. I don't know what you're doing up this early, but have a good night, and we'll see everybody again soon. Live from Live Studio B here. We'll see everybody maybe in the morning on Canadian Drone Hub at 9 a.m. So take care, my friends. Be safe, be well. Bye for now.